All right, it looks like we're good. Yes, we're working. Wow. Here we go. Well, well, well. If it isn't you, Aries, welcome. This is Terra Lumination, and this is your broad spectrum spiritual type of reading for August 2018. We're going to use that beating heart spread, very wide lens, which has the ability to focus and drill down into very laser-like focus on certain issues, whatever they might be. Before we get into that, we're going to do the same thing we did with everybody else, okay? Why not? Started something, we can't stop now. So this is a Terra Illumination Astrodoodle in its classic form. This is you, Aries. It's August 2018. These are my personal notes. It's a complete mess, but I make them anyway. Look at, this is how it is. This is what it looks like here. And I make all these for my own reference just to get through the month. This is just for Terra Illumination to get through the month, okay? Anyway, the big thing I'm going to highlight here for everybody, like I did for everybody else and for you, is the Leo new moon eclipse, August 11th. For you, it's in your 5th house. Oh, now why is that so interesting? Because it's all about the love and romance, baby. Fun and happiness here. 5th house Leo energy, maxed out, tripped out to the ultimates. Okay, so think of the themes here: creativity, creative self-expression, fun, happiness, taking risks, bold risk, love, 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 true love, romance, theater, performance, the actual expression of the art, music, and writing that typically would be like absorbed into your being over here at the 12th house, the Pisces energy. But that's a whole other story. So what's going on? Why are we picking out this date, Leo, August 11th? It's kind of your season anyway, Leo, because it's like August. Um, but it's like maxed out, super amplified because you have a freaking Leo new moon eclipse right here. The sun, moon, Mercury, North Node all lit up, maxed out. So wait a minute, I'm talking gibberish. It's all about Aries. Excuse me, sorry, forgive me. This is about you, Aries, but it's happening in your 5th house. This is not a Leo reading. Okay, forgive me. Forgive me, I'm I am, let's say, at the tippy edges of my abilities right now. Let's put it that way. So for you, Aries, this eclipse is happening in your 5th house, which is all about that stuff. It's the love, it's the fun, it's being happy. Think of it as the sun card in tarot. So what is happening in your life? What is being eclipsed out of your life in terms of this part of your world? What is being eclipsed into your life regarding this part of your world? Is it true love? The moving in from one true love into another form of true love? However that works for you, it is a huge eclipse. It's kind of life-changing, and you probably are dealing with the aftershocks from the very tippy end of July when we had the full moon Leo Aquarius eclipse, which was which happens to be in very hard angles with the Taurus energy over here and a little bit of the Scorpio energy here. It's like this ongoing T-square. Very, very tough to handle. Now, I don't know what else to say here because otherwise we could talk for hours about this, but we need to get on with stuff. I just want to let you know that there's a big Capricorn stellium up here, August 22nd. You might want to mark that. So that's going to really touch you on the sense of destiny, your place in this world, your mission, your purpose for actually being here. What does that look like? It's really going to be lit up. But with the eclipse here, please understand that it's kind of like getting dragged through customs and immigration, where you're going to be screened, scrutinized. The men in uniform, the people in uniform, they're going to be going all over your paperwork, please. Stand like this, hold your arms out, spread your legs wide, take your shoes off. Show us all your documentation and passport and paperwork. Thank you very much. Let's have a look here. Excuse us, give us a moment while we run this through federal government security level clearances. What's going on here? Okay, so either way, it's an eclipse. So whatever is yours is coming to you. Whatever is not yours is being eclipsed away. And that's just how it is. Okay, let's move on. All right, let's get to some cards. That was kind of an hors d'oeuvre thing. Snacks, appetizers to get in the flow. The cards are already well shuffled in advance, but we're going to go to the last second so that you're a witness. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Please bring in your invisible friends. Let's make this a team effort thing. It's so much more fun that way. That's what we do here on the Tarot Lumination side of the screen, okay? And I know you're there. I know you're there. I can't see you. You can't see me, but I know you're there. All right. So for you, Aries, again, typically, the drill. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, and reinterpret everything to suit you. What else have we missed? Have I missed anything here? No, I think we got it covered. Let's go for it. I need to feel really comfortable with the cards, really clear, like it's just completely, totally neutral. Okay, that's good. Right there. So bless the card. Bless this deck. Bless this reading. Bless you, Aries. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate you being here. And we're going to make the best of this. Bless the computers, the cables, the wires, the cameras, the internet, all of it. Okay, over here, the core heart energy of it all. The heart needs what it needs, it wants what it wants, and it's up to you, Aries, to understand that, know that, and get yourself as closely in alignment as possible. The farther out of alignment, the more chance you will endure pain and suffering. So it behoves you to get your egoic, three-dimensional self as closely aligned with this. Pay very, very close attention to what your heart is telling you. Feel it deep in your body, mind, heart, and soul, and then make your decisions accordingly. What are you bringing in with you? Who knows? I mean, I don't know how you're dealing with the eclipses and everything. We just had a huge Cancer new moon eclipse in the middle of July. You could have been hit right on the side by that, like being torpedoed on the side of a boat. Because the Cancer Aries energy is a little bit, it's kind of a hard square. So you might be reeling from that. In some ways, like the Aries energy is very comfortable with the Leo Aquarius eclipses, but still it's eclipses and they're very, very tough, challenging eclipses. So you could still be feeling like you're getting seriously rattled here. We'll find out soon enough. Okay, over here is the ever-present now, where not everybody wants to be, because it means you have to be grounded, present, conscious, and here. As opposed to like dwelling on the past or anticipating and projecting the future, anything to avoid the now. So what does that look like? Because in the now is where you have your power. As uncomfortable as the now may be, a lot of people like to self-medicate in order to avoid anything to do with this, just so long as they can keep their life going as this smooth, flat alpha wave, like everything's just fine. Duh. No, it's important to be aware that we are in a constant state of flux. All of this that we just talked about here, this too will change. This is not a fixed thing. Okay, but it is in the present, it is in the now, where you own your power and you express your power by activating the healing power of your decisions to love thyself, okay, which is the ultimate thing that you can do. It's the hardest thing on earth, love thyself. It's the hardest form of love. So how do we do that effectively? So this actually works. So you can actually have, some good outcomes here and actually almost like ride the waves of the eclipse as opposed to being crushed and ground under and pulverized. And in so doing, create consequences that are actually like to do with your evolutionary growth. That's what we're looking for here. That's what your heart wants. That's what heaven and angels want. That's what you want, whether you know it or not. So what happens when you're out of it and you're just kind of living on autopilot and you're just saying, well, good stuff is good, bad stuff is bad. If it's bad, it was fate. If it was good, it's all because I'm so awesome. That's kind of a very primitive way to get through, but a lot of people do. Over here, momentum, prospects for the next beat of the heart. Think of this as like a slow motion thing. Your heart is pumping all the nutrients that you need for you, and it is removing all the toxins that you don't need for you. just like the eclipses. Whatever is yours comes to you. Whatever is not yours moves away. And also taking it to the next level, ask for that. Bring it on. Please, dear angels, please, dear heaven, please bring me that which is mine. Please remove that which is not mine. Okay, and then so be it, so it is spoken, so it is done. Over here, let's have a look at circumstantial energy, environmental. Think of it as weather. Kerblam! Whoa! Off to a good start. I think this is very, very much to do with the eclipses. I think this is very much to do with the Leo new moon eclipse over here, where however you figure that out for you, dear Aries, it's a new beginning, a chance. It's a chance. It's really a new chance for new starts, new beginnings in this part of your life, where you see the opportunity, you see the gold, you see the value, you see the evidence, okay? And you're just getting the preliminary glimpses right now. Imagine you're in that, like, high security line at the airport or something. You're going through it. It's very, very scary. And then you come out the other side. This to me looks like you're already having a glimpse of the other side. You're already looking there before you've even got through security. And it looks good. It looks really, really good, Aries. It just means that typically with an eclipse, it means something has to be left behind. Like whatever is not yours will be left behind. It will be eclipsed out of your life as the new is eclipsed into your life. So let's have a look. What's going on with the core heart energy here? Okay, this to me feels very stabilizing. I'm glad to see this because to me it feels like your heart is very deeply aware that it's not just about you, Aries. It's about you with your significant others and how your heart is saying, like, we need to do this as a team effort where you're going to be evolving and growing as an individual simultaneously as your dearest, nearest, and loved ones are going to be growing and evolving with you. And you're already like in possession of the plans, the master plans, and what to do and how to do it, but not everybody gets that. They might understand it academically, but you're the one who's actually having to do it. And that's a whole different thing. So it's a team effort. It feels to me like as you're going through this, as you're going through and living through this eclipse season right now, it isn't just about you. It's you're very, very aware that you have to integrate on a very, very methodical, practical level with yourself and your loved ones, and your loved ones with you, because they want what's best for you and you want what's best for them. And they understand that. It's part of like a grand master plan that is bigger than anybody can understand right now. So all you can do is make the best of it and just go through it step by methodical step, patiently and gently, which happens to be very hard for you to do, Aries. So let's allow a bit of sympathy, a bit of empathy and understanding for that for you. But your heart is saying we need to do this very, very much in a state of mutual trust, mutual appreciation of how much you are worth to others and how much others are worth to you. And going forward from there, there's a lot of emphasis on value here, on what is good and what is substantial in a very three-dimensional way, very measured, very understandable. Evidence. Okay, what are you bringing in with you? Okay, because right now you might have been like with the 10 of Wands here, you know you're going to be okay, but it's almost like backbreaking. It's almost to the point where these eclipses are crushing you or have crushed you or have the potential to crush you, and you're doing your amazing Aries warrior best to put your best face forward, knowing that it is work. Evolution is work, but it is hard work. And if you're being really, really honest, it's like I don't know if I can take it anymore. It's like it's almost too much for me to bear. And I want to do what has to be done. I need to do what needs to work, what needs to happen. It's just that it's crushing me, to be honest. And no Aries in their right state of mind would ever want to normally admit that. But you're okay here at Tarot Illumination. It doesn't matter. It's nothing to do with humiliation. No one's going to judge you here. If you are at your kind of breaking point, it's okay, because we're all struggling with the eclipses. So don't worry, okay? All I'm suggesting here is pretend you're literally in a private reading with Tarot Illumination. You're sitting right there. I'm right here, and we got this, all right? It's okay to admit that you are at the limits and you're wondering whether you can handle it anymore. It's all right. Don't worry, Aries. Okay, we all have our physical limits. You are highly physical typically, but even then, we are all prone to reaching our physical limits of endurance, at which point we crack and break. That's how we get broken bones. That's how we get accidents. That's how we snap our vertebrae. That's how we end up in car crashes and all of that stuff. You are just as vulnerable as anyone else. So be aware of that, all right? What about the energy right now? Okay. Ooh. Well, to me, it feels like all of this is happening in the context of something very, very deeply nutritious for you, in that your own evolution here, especially when it comes to love in the, like, you know, like in the full sense. I'm not talking about like the tough responsibilities of marriages and the tough responsibilities of financial obligations that happen inside marriage type structures. I'm talking about just the love, okay? Being in love, being loving, being loved. I feel that what is happening right now here with the eclipses is very clearly being most vividly felt in the context of love. So this, I feel, this little Six of Cups, I feel, relates very, very closely to like the context of what is happening with this eclipse, where you realize, however your life is changing with the eclipses, romantically, business side, whatever it is, you're feeling it at the deepest level of soulmate level type energy here. In other words, it's like it's happening in the context of almost like of a loving relationship, almost like a love affair. So, as beautiful as this is, like connecting with someone who is at your frequencies of deep soulmate love, where it's almost like someone from the past is here with you now, to live with you, be with you right now in this lifetime now. It's in the context of an eclipse here. Well, what does it actually mean? Like, oh, who or what is being eclipsed out? Who or what is being eclipsed in? What does that mean? Because it's all happening at the level of deep, profound soulmate relationship dynamics. Even though this is not a soulmate or love and relationship reading. This is just broad spectrum spiritual overviews, but we're drilling down deep to the core heart level, all right? So we do need to allow for the love and the romance here. So what is happening? You can reinterpret that, okay? Aries, you would know. You would know exactly what we're talking about here with this in terms of the love, okay? So it's in that context. What kind of decisions are you going to make? That's where you own your power, the healing power of your decisions. Always to love thyself first. Okay. With the Three of Wands here, my feeling is that this is to be expected. Everything is exactly as it should be because it can't be any other way. And that's just the laws of physics. So, however these eclipses are working out for you, this particular one in the early middle of August, it's exactly how it should be, and you're getting exactly the consequences that you deserve. If some great love is arriving into your life, if some great spiritual soulmate love is like not departing, but on the other side of the equation, so to speak, where you go through this transition where you're surrounded by love, it's just the question of like what is current and what is active right now in terms of physical evidence. Who loves me? Who do I love? I need evidence, okay? And the evidence will be apparent. And I'm not just talking about love and romance. I'm talking about the full thing here and the opportunities for growth and new love here. To me, it feels very, very bountiful, but it is happening in the context of eclipse. So we have to allow for endings and beginnings. There's no way out of it. And you'll have to figure out that for yourself, okay, Aries? So it's just like realizing when you're making your decisions, everything is happening according to the outcomes of what happens when you make a decision. Because this card for me feels here right now that it's very symbolic of what happens when you make a decision. And it's very, very clear. And you're already in the flow here. Well, it's like, because you're Aries, so it's, okay, I'm gonna have to lean on this thing here with the Capricorn stellium. I think this is gonna make a lot more sense towards the end of the month after you've lived through the August 11th eclipse and you come more towards August 22nd, where you're gonna start to see how this relates to your like destiny on Earth. How does, like, it sounds really bizarre here, but how does your love life, the people that you love, the people who love you, the person that you love, the person who loves you, how is that going to impact your destiny in this world? Okay, you're going to see consequences. You know that already, and you know you're having to make decisions that allow for that consequence to happen. I think this is happening at a very subliminal level. So how do you do that effectively at a very conscious level? You face it. You go deep in. You go deep, 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 deep into the subconscious, and without being scared, knowing that you're going through the eclipse. In other words, this eclipse could be in some ways very traumatic for you, very frightening, very scary, but you already know that. But you also know that you come out the other side. So there's no point in like letting this whole thing overwhelm you. You just know and understand that as you come into the eclipse and you come out of the eclipse, there's life before the eclipse, there's life after the eclipse. And it's going to happen very gently and slowly and kind of like in a grind, like at the speed of tectonic plates, but it is going to happen. And in some ways, it's very scary, okay? But there's also no going back, because that's the nature of eclipses. They are spiritual gateways. They are evolutionary gateways. There's nowhere else to go except forward. You can't go back. You are literally being forced to go forward. I'm not saying the planets own you. All I'm suggesting is that the planets, what did she say? What did my sweetheart tell me? The planets impel. They do not compel. In other words, you do not have to go along with this, but you are being impelled to go here because that's what's best for you. If you try to fight this eclipse, you're just going to attract a lot of pain. So there's no point in fighting it. Just go with the flow, knowing that you're going to feel disoriented, perhaps scared of like, well, what's coming? Like you don't know what the future is. But that's okay. You have to know that in advance when you go through the eclipses. You don't actually know what it is. That's the nature of eclipses, is that we are being literally like squeezed through a funnel into our destiny. So just let it happen. Generate consequences accordingly. So my feeling here with the Three of Swords here, it becomes very apparent that you have to watch your warning signs of what's happening in love and relationship around you, where you have to understand that if like your love life here does involve a change and a morph from one way of being to another way of being, where this new stuff is already in play and the pre-existing stuff is already in play, but there's this kind of like overlap, then you reach a point of awareness, acute awareness, that this could appear like a triangulation of things. But again, this is temporary. This is just what is brought to the surface, and it needs to be accounted. It needs to be allowed for. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean disaster or anything like that. It's just an understanding that you're dealing with deep heart energy here that is, let's say, going to have to deal with the consequence of decisions that you've already made and decisions that already have outcomes in terms of momentum from which there is no return. So you might feel it like in the romantic level as something tragic, okay, perhaps painful, as one thing is eclipsed away and something new is eclipsed in. No matter how wonderful the new, no matter how wonderful the old. It's just the fact that there's an eclipse and there's a transition, and it could feel I don't know, like some kind of tragic loss here. But again, it's almost like so long as you're aware of that, this doesn't have to own you. But it's very, very important that you are aware of it, because if you insist on staying in denial of this, what's happening is you're blocking your own evolution. And that's probably the worst thing that you could do. So it's important to just accept that this is what can be exposed. This is what needs to be acknowledged. This is what needs to be faced and dealt with, and you just live with it. In other words, like total surrender to the truth, to the reality, to the way things are actually showing up, like in your world around you, and then you go forward accordingly. In other words, understanding the laws of consequence. Don't take this personally, okay? It feels to me very much to do with the eclipses, where we already talked earlier about there are going to be like tumultuous changes, and sometimes they can be painful, but it's still ultimately all about what is best for you, which is still ultimately what is best for the others. And sometimes, and very typically with eclipses, things can be very painful. So let's just get that on record and not take it personally. It's not like anybody's like targeting you or anything like that. It's just like this is the reality of what it's like to evolve. Sometimes evolution is painful. Let's just face it. So what happens if you are in total denial here? And it's like, I can't handle this. This is not going to happen. This is not acceptable. Ding. Okay. And to me, it puts you kind of almost like in a poverty trap, where you subject yourself and condemn yourself to not being ready, willing, and able to receive the bounty that is yours. Terror illumination magic, terror illumination magic. But when you don't take it personally and you allow evolution to happen, and you literally allow yourself to go through whatever it is you have to do, all the pain of transformation and changes, and the scariness of it all, and perhaps in a way that it's happening in the context of deeply loving relationships, then you do like bring things back into harmony and balance. You do get what you deserve, and it's wholesome and simple and straightforward, and just like as it should be. So it's like, it's almost like you gain on one thing but you lose on another. You gain on this but you lose on that. So it's like a balancing act, and it's everything is exactly as it should be. And again, don't take it personally. It's just about growth and evolving and moving on. But again, this is, sorry, with Aries, with the Leo stuff here, typically that would be very, let's say, harmonious and beneficial for you, because it's the Leo Aries thing. It's very comfortable. So this part, in some ways the eclipse could work harmoniously with you. But I got to say that this Capricorn stellium up here is very, very challenging on the Aries energy. It's not directly on this lovey-dovey stuff here. Even though this is not a love and relationship reading, I feel the evidence of love and relationship is very prominent here. So we have to allow for it in this reading. So I'm trying to, deal with it gently and softly from a broad spectrum, and then get down into what's like drilling into what it's really about here. And to me, it feels like understanding the true value of who you are, where you came from, everything that you've shared, perhaps with significant soulmates, and also understanding the true value of where you are going with significant soulmates. And it might be like bye-bye to one, hello to another. And that affects your destiny in this world at a very, very profound level. This, whatever's happening up here, with all this Capricorn energy pressing down very, very like indirectly, but very stressfully on you, Aries, that does impact you here in love and romance and that department of true love. And so be it. What about momentum? Moving on. Oh, see what we're talking about? I think, oh my gosh, I think I think the reality isn't going to hit for quite a while. I think as you're going through the eclipses, everything that we talked about is going to become like incrementally more acute and more vividly aware and more understandable. Like this reading might not make any sense to you right now, but it might make more sense around August 11th and a lot more sense coming into September, especially the end of September. Because with the lovers here, I think you're going to start to understand truly the meaning of what's happening in your eclipses, especially regarding significant others in terms of soulmates. Soulmate with one, soulmate with another. One soulmate here, another soulmate here. Beautiful love, either side. But history is history and evolution moves on. Sometimes we outgrow our past as we move into our so-called future. And that's how it is. So you become vividly exposed to the dynamics of profound, most important relationships in your life. And where are you coming from? Where are you going? What decisions are you going to have to make in the future? What decisions are other people going to make that impact you in the future? Oh my effing God. Okay? I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to tell the future. I'm not going to try and be a fortune teller here. You can reinterpret this however you want. I'm going to put this aside and I wish you all the best, dear Aries. Okay? You can handle it. It's all right. It might be a bit stark and it might be a little bit eye-popping at moments in time, but please allow the shock waves and the after effects of all this eclipse energy to settle down into September and October, okay? Thank you so much for visiting. Bye-bye and all the best. You'll be fine. Don't worry.